Once upon a time, there lived me as a little boy, and here I got our two friends of the family named Wallace, the man, and of course Gromit, the dog. And we met through our Red Nose Day, and Wallace lives down the hill in Blackmore Street, and he has sometimes looked after me to help keep an eye on me and stuff on weekends or something or whatever. And he also is an old friend of Bill Krautz's eldest, Tristan. So he and Gromit have taken me, which I've rode in the sidecar with Gromit, and Wallace rode on the motorbike, to somewhere in Sydney, and he's found an engine to surprise me, and he's gone to go and help restore it, like a good collector and inventor. So now, he's now at work, painting, welding, scraping, and of course, working hard on him. Hand over the tins of paint, T, Wallace said to me. Welder, please, Gromit. So we worked very hard, mending and restoring the engine, and Wallace had the new parts for the engine too. Then, the engine was fully restored. Here you are, T. He looks exactly like Thomas. Hello, I'm Thomas. You must be T. And also a pleasure to meet you, Wallace and Gromit. Thomas went to Central Station in Sydney and was pulling some old coaches behind him. A lot of people were in admire for him. So a lot of people at the station were happy and excited to see Thomas, all happily admiring him. Hello, I'm Thomas. Nice to meet you. I'm originally based by Reverend Wilbert Audrey, but I'm happy to be here in Sydney to meet you all. So some people had a peep into his cab and also admired his lovely blue paint. And a lot of people on the suburban trains were excited. So Thomas was all ready to go. The guard blew her whistle, and Thomas was getting ready to depart. So the last two sets of families got aboard Thomas's coaches, and Thomas was able to go again, so the guard had to blow her whistle again. So before signals were made, it was a bit difficult, which was, well, this is the 2000s, around my time when I first got into Thomas. Now Thomas was ready. And here are two new engines for the island named Elward and Monique, who are sisters. Oh. So Thomas's first train ran well. So now he was back at the station. And he was proud of his first passenger train run. And all the passengers were pleased too. When the Island of Sodor first started, the Thomas was just an original passenger engine, and Sodor was just like a heritage railway when it first started, because there weren't many lines around the Island of Sodor back then, and this is a station called Knapford. And at the time, the Fat Controller was decided, like a person to become the Fat Controller was deciding to work out what should be the capital city and what should be the biggest town and biggest city on Sodor, because Knapford is a village. So Sodor had now started like a heritage railway. So before Thomas had his branch line, the Fat Controller, or the person in charge of looking after the island, lets Thomas pull 4 coaches. Monique, the red engine, Elward's sister, is the goods engine on Sodor. And she helps with hauling the heavy goods on the island. She prefers the goods better than passengers, but she helps if Thomas or Elward need to be sent to be mended. And the trucks can be a bit of a pain occasionally when they hold her back. because she does the right thing to show that she's a good engine, better than many other engines who are now ordered put up with on their other railway. So the guard and some people got out and helped push from behind. And Monique made it to the top of the hill. Because the trucks can be naughty and many engines have to deal with them. So she helps delivers the milk for people around the island where they get it delivered fresh to their door, and she helps deliver fuel for road vehicles and for people's houses, and she also delivers all types of goods, and she's a very good goods engine. The Island of Sodor had got more engines. Their fourth engine, what they bought, was Henry from England. But Henry was too expensive to run. Plus, he was too heavy for the line and he was a failure. So he ended up being on the siding because he was way too hard and too big to run on the railway. The Island of Sodor had now bought a new engine, an engine from England, a B12, and also the brother / sister of the Flying Scotsman. Its name is Gordon, and Gordon is now brought to the island to help with freight and to help with many other things. And Gordon was very fast, much faster than Henry, and also strong. So Gordon is painted green, same as Henry, but later on he's going to be painted, he or she will be painted blue, like Thomas and Elward. Gordon was happily pulling the passengers. Come on, come on. Don't delay me, Gordon puffed. I will get the coaches and be on time, because we must not let this heritage railway down. Because Sodor is very loyal. a naughty child had pulled the emergency cable in Gordon's train, which was very dangerous, and it was not an emergency. Gordon was very cross. Idiots! Pulling the emergency cable when it's not an emergency. That wastes time. So the naughty passenger was walked off the train with its guardian and told never to come back. Gordon was uncoupled from the train and puffed crossly away because they had to mend the coaches because of wheel flats. So because Gordon had a lot of trouble going around the tracks, the manager of Sodor, being a heritage railway, decided to hire a 38 class to do Gordon's passenger duties. And it's 3805. But the name of it is Jessica, and she's painted black with red stripes. And she's also a sister of some other Australian famous loco. So later that afternoon, Jessica was pulling freight. So she had to deliver freight around the island. So it was a big heavy train, but Jessica didn't mind. Never mind, I'll just do what I can. So one of the extra people got out from Jessica's cab to help push behind. Soon meanwhile, Monique and Elwood were pulling a passenger train. Then one of their drivers got a call on their radio telephone. We've got trouble. Jessica has come off the rails into the creek, leading into the harbour which is being built. We need you and your engines to come with some workmen and to come with some tools aboard the passenger carriages and to help dig Jessica out of the mud. If you can help. So the crews agreed, and they got the workmen aboard, ready to do their job. And now Elwood and her sister Monique were on their way as fast as they could. So they had to double head the train because the two B-class bullies were refusing to shunt, which was very selfish of them. Natalie and Francesca, as known as 98462 and 87546, refused to help do the shunting and pull passengers. So the two engines rushed as fast as they could. So with Henry gripped up in the tunnel, there was nothing about Henry that could be done. So they puffed up the hill as they could. So the passengers got out and helped with pushing from behind. Finally, they made it to the top of the hill. And the workmen got out and got their tools. Trevor, the farm tractor, had the chains on the back of him to help pull Jamesica out after she has been dug out. And Kiwa had his bulldozer blade, which I mean Kiwa. He had his bulldozer blade to help try and push Jamesica as well, to help free her. And now they were getting ready for work. So they got to work. So they positioned the cement wagon out of the way, and they had to cut the coupling to Jamesica's rear, to the tender. Then they sorry about that. And they had to move Jamesica's tender out of the way. And Kiwa got ready to try and push Jamesica out of the mud while the men dug. Trevor pulled as hard as he could. And Jamesica was being pulled as hard. Growled Trevor. And finally, Jamesica was back out of the mud and back onto the rails. And they quickly straightened her bogies. She tried to move, but she couldn't. So they got the two engines, Elwood and Monique, to take her home back to the yard. Later on, the manager, before Sir Topham Hatt, went to see the two naughty blue engines. 98462 and 87546. I'm very disappointed in you two for not helping Thomas, Elwood and Monique. You two are to be ashamed of yourselves, because I'm retiring like next month or something, and I need you to show me respect. Do I make myself clear? The engines both looked at each other. If you don't make yourself clear, that manager, who's going to become the controller of this island to look after you engines, he is going to show more kindness. And I don't want you two to be nasty to him. The engines were just rolling their eyes and just not showing respect. For your disrespect towards not being helpful to Thomas, Elwood and Monique, you two might have to be sent packing. And when Jamesica comes in a new shape, you are to make her feel welcome, because that shape she just had has now gotten badly damaged, all thanks to you for encouraging the trucks to push her along the rails. And the workmen had such a hard time having to get her out of the mud and out the creek. Plus, you have damaged a lot of good property around the Island of Sodor, such as coaches, trucks, and of course, going over speed limits. My successor won't have any of that on his railway, won't he? And the name is Sir Handel Brown, and I do not expect any of that behaviour. So Sir Handel Brown turned on his heel and sternly walked away from the two naughty blue engines. But I won't tell you any more, otherwise I'll spoil the next scene. At a railway shed in Sydney, I took tea and grommet to see Percy. So Percy is going to be the new engine on Sodor to work alongside Thomas. Hello there, Percy. I'm Wallace, and these are my friends T and Grommet. If I choose you, will you work hard? Yes, sir, please, sir. That's a good engine, Percy. You'll be the engine to work alongside Thomas and be a shunter on the Island of Sodor. Yes, sir, please, sir. And I drove her to the ferry to get to Sodor. So now Henry was let out of the tunnel. He was glad to be let out of the tunnel because he was feeling sorry for the other engines that had to put up with extra work. And he is glad that he's finally out of the tunnel. And now 98462 had been sent away for good. So now, but Henry had a lot of steaming troubles. So he uses coal made from New South Wales and Victoria, which helps him steam properly. Plus Henry has some sort of emotion problems, feeling depressed, sick, anxiety, and of course he's got bad mental health. But Henry doesn't give up. He's a good engine and he promises that he'll be good. So one day the fact that he decided to be blue to match Thomas, some part of Elwood and Gordon. Was glad to be back to be pulling passengers, better than freight. And the Fat Controller, who is the manager of the last controller, who spoke severely, is now the boss, Sir Topham Hatt, and he is boss of the Island Sodor, and they're still busy building the Island of Sodor. So 87546 is known as Danny, formerly Francesca, is glad to have Gordon like a sister because she's blue, and for Gordon being transgendered. So now the two of them were ready to depart. The guard got ready to blow the whistle, and the two of them were off. Now for a sprint. I'm ready when you are, they both said to each other. So they got up the hill, which Natalie got stuck, and the two of them were making good time with their train, and they got ready to slow down at walking pace. And they were slowly pulling into the station. And they got ready for another lap. And now they were whizzing through the harbour, which would later be named Natford Harbour. So they had to stop and adjust Danny's bogie back on the line. So the passengers cheered for them, and they were glad that they were being good engines and good friends. So they got their passengers to the platform, and everyone was pleased. Jamesica now came back to Sodor, painted red, and she says it suits her better than the colour black. So she now got ready to take some coaches. So she got very overexcited. So all the passengers were now on board, and now Jamesica was ready to depart. Slow down, said the coaches. But Jamesica was too overexcited. Look at me, Percy. But because of Jamesy got so overexcited, all of a sudden, bang. What's the matter? What's the matter, all right, Jamesica? It looks like you've gone a bit too far. You have come to a sudden stop and now you've broken the brake pipe to your coaches. What? Me? Break the brake pipe to my coaches? What are you talking about? It means that the train has come to a sudden stop. And now you've done it deliberately. So they called a bus to pick up the passengers and it was Bertie. So Bertie came to rescue the passengers while they had to mend the brake pipe to one of the coaches. Percy the small engine is a shunter at the harbour. She helps with arranging the goods wagons for the engines. She's a bit cheeky, but she's became a very good friend of Thomas and a good friend to the other engines. She totally has done the right thing to help be a very useful shunter. So now she had arranged the different wagons and was pleased that she did a good job of it. And Percy loves to travel around the island exploring. Not too rough with the coaches, Percy, said her driver. Not too rough. But Percy sometimes gets carried away, but can't help it. So Percy was glad to be very useful, but she accidentally put the brake fan in the middle. So they parked Toby out in front of the engines to talk to them about his adventures. Amazing, puffed Gordon politely. Toby, I'm Gordon. I'm the island's only transgendered engineer. Well, that's interesting. You're half female and half male. Yes, I am. Toby, I'm bright red, the same colour as Monique, but I like pulling passengers better than freight. Hey, mind how you talk, Jamesy Carr? I'm Henry. I sometimes have steaming troubles, Toby, but you're welcome to be my friend. I'm Elle Ward. I'm Monique's sister and Henry's boyfriend. I'm Thomas, Toby, and I was the first engine to come to the island. Yes, I'm Danny, Toby, and my main sister, has been asked to leave the island because she was causing the other engines trouble. But you can call me Danny. Sure thing, Danny. Pleased to meet you too. All you engines, you look wonderful. So, I'll be glad for when we work together and stuff. And I'll be glad that the island gets busier. And with that, all the engines went to sleep. And so did the dog, man, and his friend inside Henrietta. One evening on the Island of Sodor, Henry was getting ready to go to sleep. He was trying one of the new sheds. His driver spoke to him. We'll be out early tomorrow. We've got to take refrigerated goods. And if we do that, you'll be able to pull passengers. Plus, that coal from New South Wales and Victoria is working well. Hurrah! That will be lovely, puffed Henry. It's now early in the morning, just as day was dawning, and Henry was getting ready to pull the flying kipper. And to the places that were being built around the island, the refrigerated places, he was getting ready to do it. Music now. So now Henry was ready to depart. So Henry was off. Henry was making good time. So he got ready to charge the hill. Come on, come on. Must make good time, must make good time. But he felt his brakes feel a bit weak. But he tried his best. He stopped at some stations where there were different delivery trucks waiting for the fish. Oh, sorry.
Henry steamed up the hill, but suddenly he felt his wheels go a bit strange. I must do it. I must do it. Please, Sir Topham Hatt. But there was some disaster about to happen soon. Henry was glad that his driver and fireman were safe, plus no one was hurt. Henry felt bad that the Fat Controller would send him away, but he had no intention to be sent away. I couldn't stop, sir. It was my brakes. Cheer up, Henry. It wasn't your fault. It was those faulty brakes that caused the accident. I'm sending you to Canberra, the capital of Australia, to go and get mended. You'll get a new shape and a larger firebox. You'll feel a different engine and won't need special coal anymore. Won't that be nice? Yes, sir. You, painted orange, you take Henry to the ferry to be transported to Sydney and take him to Canberra to be mended. Yes, sir, said the orange engine. I'll just let you still the music. Good. So the Fat Controller walked off to go and solve some more problems. Then the orange engine was coupled up to Henry and they chuffed away. So while Henry was at the works, the Fat Controller bought a new engine named Emily, a single wheeler. She was very fast and she was very happy. So Emily was very honoured to be the Sir Topham Hatt's tenth engine to be owned, because she was very loyal and good to the others, and she pulls 2 coaches of her own. So Emily just loves her passengers and she also pulls freight when other engines are busy.
While Henry was still at the works being mended, Thomas was taking some people along the railway of Sodor. And here, on the train for one of the other passengers, like the brother of Annette is Murray, the original Red Wiggle, with his wife Meg and his two children, Georgia and Hamish. And here are more people. Part of the camping group is Matt, his mother Jo, her husband Peter, middle child Kira, and youngest Gabby. And here are a family called the Fergusons. Alex, the eldest child, middle one, Jess, and youngest, Sarah. Jess is planning to be a nipper because she has an interest in sport. And this is John, and this is Liz. Also, she's a nurse. Well, this is T's family. This is his mother, Rebecca. Anthony, his stepfather. Brother Al, brother Jacob, the two eldest. His twin sister Isabel. Ambrose, his youngest brother. And the half-sibling, Lucia. And this is Jeff Fat, their godfather. This is the Jackson family, who are related to the Ferguson family. This is David, the brother of Liz, his wife Jackie, his two elder boys, Charlie and Patrick, Bronte, and their youngest, Molly. Here are the Krauses. The older man here is Bill, the one with the white moustache, and he is the second or third cousin of John. These are his two elder boys, Alira and the youngest Jacob Krautz. I don't know what Liam is. And this is one of T's friends named Taylor, who's very martial artistic. And this here is Grace. And this here is Sharon, Mum's older sister, nephew Curtis, and Sharon's husband, Stephen. Liam is the kid with the backpack. And when everyone got to Knapford, they were happy to meet Sir Topham Hatt, because he had a place reserved for them to stay, his house. So he is one of the first people on the Island of Sodor to have his biggest house built. The Fat Controller had everyone assigned to their rooms. to work out where to sleep. It was the first night at the Fat Controller's place, and the Fat Controller was sitting at the table having dinner, and with the guests. So after dinner was desserts, and afterwards the children went to bed while the parents were working out plans. The day had now begun, and everyone was busy having their breakfast. Now everyone had now packed a picnic and was getting ready to ride on Bertie the bus. And he took them for a drive and tour around the Island of Sodor. Everyone were having a nice picnic and watching the trains go by. And my family were enjoying it too. Alice there is the one in the yellow shirt. Jacob is the one in the shirt with the skull. Isabel is the one with the rocket on her shirt. Ambrose is the one next to me, and next to Ambrose is Lucia, the youngest. This one is Bill. That's his eldest son. Caleb is the one in the green. Liam is the one with the flat cap, and he's only 14. And that's the youngest, Jacob. And here is Mum's sister, Sharon, with a son, Curtis, and husband, Stephen. That is Grace. So later on, we visited the dairy, which is being built at Tidmouth. And it was very interesting seeing the cows being milked, and the milk being put in the bottles. Gabby didn't have any shoes on because she likes to wear her martial arts outfit. And Jess, she's a nipper, as in practicing life saving. So Sarah is the one in the beanie. Good visiting the farm. So that night, after their busy day, the families all got ready to have pizza. And it was bought from the pizza place with drinks. Then they had dessert. Then got ready for bed. And the Fat Controller read them a story. Henry the Green Engine was glad to be heading back to the Island of Sodor because he was now in a new shape, and he was glad that he's now recovered. Plus, myself at a younger age and all the fathers of my camping group were very pleased that Henry had now recovered, and he was now back to being green. So Henry was looking forward to going back to the Island of Sodor to pull passengers. Henry was glad to be heading back to Sodor because he was glad to be back with his friends, plus he was glad that he had a better shape, and he was looking forward to running along the lines of Sodor. And he was very pleased that he'll be able to run properly. After meeting Thomas, the people got to meet our Lord Henry's girlfriend, Gordon, Sodor's first transgendered engine, Jamesica, Emily, Jamesica's girlfriend Percy, also Thomas's best friend, Toby, Monique, Elward's sister, and of course 87546, formerly known as Francesca, now changed to Danny, and they were very pleased. People were getting aboard Henry's train because it was his welcome back train. Henry was now in his new shape. He is pleased to be in his new shape, and he can be able to puff properly, and he no longer needs the coal from New South Wales and Victoria. Plus, he is now built into a bigger engine, and he can do all sorts of jobs, but he still feels sorry for different problems he still has. So now Henry was ready to roll. The guard blew her whistle, and Henry was off. And he departed sweetly. Look at me now, he puffed. I feel stronger than before. Back when I was the same class as Gordon and her sister, and his to her sister. The passengers were having a wonderful time. They were glad that Henry was running well.
Soon Henry was slowing down, ready to go back into the station. Henry pulled slowly into the station and was pleased that he made good time. And all the passengers cheered that Henry had become a new built engine, because everyone was pleased. Days had passed and it was time to get back to Muffle Mountain in Sydney. First of all, to get to the coast. So getting aboard first was my family. Then Mum's brother Murray and his children and wife. Then the Bakers. Plus the Coakleys. Plus our neighbours, the Krautzes. Plus Mum's sister Sharon. But suddenly I wandered off and I got to meet the Blue Engine, the sister of 87546 is known as Danny, and mean sister Natalie. So the driver of her played a trick on me. So he played a very naughty trick on me, and he was being very dangerous. You're coming with me, and there's nothing you can do, he said to me. Hey, where are you taking me? Somewhere by surprise. And the thing what he did, he took me to his secret room and got me sucked into a portal to go forwards in time. Hey, stop, I said. You're making me giddy. You don't know what you're doing. Shut up, said that crank. What about my family and friends of my family and I, and the friends who I had? So I ended up being sent to Shining Time 2 decades later. An ambulance came and got ready to take me to hospital. And they got me into the children's ward. So soon the nurse brought in the person who I knew from Muffle Mountain, who lived on the corner, to come and see me, but I couldn't remember him. But he was able to remember me. So they started feeding me to try and make me feel a bit better. So the next day, I was sent to hydrotherapy to do some exercises. There were 2 in the pool with me, getting ready to exercise with me. So they were helping me walk up and down the steps, jump, pool noodle, and kickboard. Then having a wash and being dried off. Then back to bed. And the nurse came to check on me that there was a special doctor coming in. So next day he came in, but I was up to some things to avoid being seen.
So I got fully dressed in one of the other nurses' clothes from the cloakroom, and I started to do a bit of a runner out of the hospital. Then I jumped aboard a train conductor's van and we sped off as fast as we could. I took him to meet my girlfriend Stacey, and we were happy to have him now part of us. So I made him a nice collection of trains, and later on he built me such a big layout, so I ended up living with Mr. Conductor and Stacey because there was no way back to the past, and I forgot about the Mr. Conductor who lived in Muffle Mountain.